Good morning, good noon, good evening, wherever time and place you're listening to us from, straight from the 909. It's Mark, Andre, myself, Isaiah, and together,
that's hip-hop, baby.
Today we're discussing a superior MC. One of my favorites, Lupe Fiasco's Food and Liquor.
Yeah.
Released September 19th, 2006 on 1st and 15th Entertainment and Atlantic Records. This is a very special one for me. Lupe Fiasco came onto the scene right around the time when we were graduating in 2006.
We only had a month and a half to like really network with people at high school about how cool this album was.
Yeah.
And after that was like, see you guys, see you forever.
It was on the next level. It just moved on.
I kind of forgot like how we came upon discussing Lupe Fiasco. I think he just came up in the conversation and we just kind of unanimously agreed that he was
time.
The guy.
Yeah, it was time to cover Lupe. We had to because, as far as what we do on the podcast is, we cover great lyrical artists, but also great masterpiece albums, man. And this is without a doubt one of them, man. Certainly.
Yeah.
Talk about hot off the gate.
Yeah.
This album,
literal TNT.
Yeah. You once you had every around our age at that time, once you had every race talking about him, because the grand deception is when you hear of Lupe Fiasco, you think immediately maybe he's of some Latin descent. And if you don't see him in music videos, you're like, well, I didn't know he was black. And appealing to the regard of his one of his singles in Kick Push, appealing to the skateboard crowd around that time.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk's Underground came out. A lot of the X Games were cracking again.
Light-skinned people like me skateboarding.
Peace out to, what was his name, Nigel Houston? Yeah.
This
Some skateboarder.
Nigel's dope. Yeah, Nigel's dope.
Yeah, popped on the scene around this time too. So like...
Yeah, this is a very special artist I think that we're covering because, Lupe Fiasco, he's known as one of those top tier lyricists in the game.
Yeah.
He's somebody that, I believe he teaches hip hop too, or
MIT,
skills with
shit
the
like
pen
that.
and everything. So that alone, I remember, Andre, you famously covered Mural, and the way you were breaking that down, I was just really mind blown at, the like what's behind, everything he's writing, and just the very details that the layers, that he goes into sometimes when writing. And I think, we don't have a lot of guys like that. It's very here and there. You might have somebody, and then on top of that, he was also able to do this in the mainstream eye, which isn't easy to do. And the thing is, like, he wasn't really looking for that.
Wasn't your atypical rapper either,
right?
In the mainstream sense, there was. He's not a gangster rapper. He's not deemed as a super lyrical MC, but he's there and he's present.
Yeah.
And he's highly regarded as one of the best rappers, especially around this time, even till today.
It was still, I think, the gangsta, era was pretty prevalent during those years when he was coming onto the scene too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Lupe's like the Impossible Burger. So it's like, when there's just this huge market of, what they feel is what's going to feed the people, Lupe shows up doing something that, looks like what you can eat as natural meat, but it's something that's really good for you. And it's very for Lupe, and this is probably why we hold him in such a high regard. He just escalated the game really fucking far. Like, before, I don't want to compare any MCs. When we talk about Lupe, they just turn it into beefs.
Yeah.
But I just feel like when Lupe popped up and, he hit us with this, it felt like the bar was like right here, right? And Lupe did something so extraordinary that I felt like every MC after had to climb just to get here. And Lupe, he was doing mixtapes prior to this, making it look like a cakewalk all the way to this point, right? Like it's part of his plan,
And that was pretty cool. The mixtapes he was doing, they were very themed on like terrorism, because at the time too, terrorism was a big topic around that time.
Yeah, but highly advanced shit, man.
And coming from his perspective too, because he is Muslim, and that at the time, that was kind of a stigma because of what happened when 9/11 and everything. And here in America, we kind of treated Muslims as like the enemy in a sense. So, coming from his perspective as well, talking on the subject is also, it's insightful coming from his end of the story. So I thought that was also interesting about him and him tackling that subject.
If I could pinpoint something before we continue, it's like Lupe is one of the very, very few artists that were ahead of their time period that didn't flop.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the guys that we've covered up to this point have been so far ahead of their peers that they didn't get the exception. They didn't grow.
True.
Right?
True. This is an exception to that.
Right. Yeah. And Lupe really is what we would regard to be on the level of a Tone Deaf, right? Or a Tech Nine, or, a Cannabis, even as far as his concepts and his songwriting ability, yet he was able to skyrocket over everyone else. Out of Chicago, by the way.
Yeah.
Remember Providence. Sorry, I said Providence.
Providence. Providence, Rhode Island,
right.
Where the illest rappers are at.
But Providence, man, it just matters where you start from and where you come from, especially around this time. It was like East Coast, West Coast, So for him to just blossom out of Chicago, excellent, man. It's something different.
What do you guys think about the artists, the MCs, that kind of like how Lupe did it, where when he was done, he hung up his hat and kind of just doesn't look back.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think, there's a period in time, when you write these projects. And the thing with him is I know he ran into a lot of roadblocks writing some, I think what album was it? Lasers. I know he had issues with the label and them kind of holding his project back. And they had they held up like picket signs in front of the label and all that, and were like protesting it. And they finally released it and everything. But, I feel like, you come to a certain point in your life where you want to try other things and you want to do other things, to contribute, cause he's now made albums and everything. And I know that he still has it in his heart, but he's probably at a different place in time. And, I feel like that's okay to me because, he's made his mark.
Yeah. He's an exceptional painter as well. He has some very great art out there.
Oh, you mean like literally?
Like a visual painter? Yeah.
Painter?
He did the artwork for Tetsuo and Youth and Drill Music in Zion, his newest project. And come on, guys. Drill Music in Zion, y'all better fuck with that one. Goddamn freestyle album, better than most.
Oh, he's done that too.
He did a freestyle album, man.
Yeah, that's dope.
Drill Music and we won't call it a freestyle album, but he hand quotes, wrote it in his head.
Right.
Shut up, bitch, you freestyle. So yeah, he freestyled and made something exceptional.
Yeah.
Completely just on par. But anyway, back to here. We got to start from where we are now. Food and liquor, which is right off the bat.
Yeah.
Conceptually, the name food and liquor, right? So we have two comparisons immediately. Food is something that you need to survive, and liquor is something that we need to consume, but it can kill us, right? But on both ends, you see good and bad on both sides. The food itself can be good for you because it nourishes you, but the food also can be bad because it can be poisonous, contaminated food, right? The liquor itself can be bad for you because it's killing you slowly, but the liquor itself can be good for you because it makes you feel better. So we already immediately off of a album title have you thinking, So with Lupe coming here, looking like on the album cover, looking like some being from space.
Yeah, dropping in like Superman.
Yeah.
Well, no, because did the cover move you guys when you first got the project?
Yeah. I liked it.
You see it.
It definitely. I like the whole space elements and it being like.
He's reflecting like light off a prism.
Yes,
it made me think of Neptunes a little bit.
Yes,
just like,
that too.
Just out
little homage to the as we caught the Nintendo. I think the DS and NES cartridge, and I thought it was a PSP, but apparently it's like a Palm Pilot.
Yeah.
The homage to his faith in writing in the Arabic style. I think some sort of calligraphy like that.
I see that. Yeah.
I like. I think this debut album artwork's pretty badass.
It definitely encapsulates the time because the clothing, even the way the pants are, we kind of had a more baggy, the clothing, it almost looks like Bathing Ape a little bit. Yeah. I don't know. It has that style to it.
It's the coolest you could look.
And that style was, kind of coming into its place. Kanye still hasn't really come around, or he was barely kind of coming out around this period too. And once he came out, with his albums, it kind of like changed. We went away from that kind of the gangsta era into a new era. Yeah. And Lupe Fiasco, was one of those guys that was like the face of the new thing, at that time. I think Jay-Z had made some comments about him being like the next thing, or, and he also, and he also wanted Lupe Fiasco to work for him or to be a part of his label or his thing. It didn't work out, but ultimately I know he helped get signed with Atlanta Records and stuff. And I think actually he turned down Jay-Z to do his own label, and that takes some guts to do as well. And it shows you the mindset, the mind frame he was already in. He's like, nah, I'm going to be my own label, So there's a lot to him that's dope. He actually, he said a story I saw where he was talking about, he has a friend very similar to your guys' situation. He has a friend that like got him into rapping. Yeah. And the friend's like just in the car chilling. He's like, yeah, he actually, he got me into rapping and I started rapping. So it was like, it reminded me kind of your story
it's like too. A Yup or something like that, right? Yeah. Like shout out to Yup Uselton. Cause Yup basically just got us and curated everybody and made us do what we had to do. Yeah. But Lupe, I feel like influences me and Mark specifically in the creativity. Rhyming is one thing that's important, but Lupe was so past the rhyme that you had to kind of embark on that journey. I talk a lot about Slim Shady LP because around that time that made sense to me as a young person. And Lupe at the time when this came out was more advanced. Okay. I'll be honest. The first few listens I had to learn. I didn't know what was going on. I just was like, wow, this is very, it reminds me of the things I like. But I have to piece together what I'm hearing.
Yeah. That the lyrics are present because you
do some homework.
Yeah. And then the treat is you getting educated a little after on the second and third listen. You actually hear and understand what they're saying. You have like our last week's review with DOS Effects. At that current time, you had current pop culture references, but with Lupe Fiasco, he could take you back a couple decades with references or even just obscure references that you have to at least be a little bit educated on to even get.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
It's like you got rewarded if you were a nerd.
You said something about he references things as far back as Shakespeare himself. Like it goes that far back.
It goes that far, and he makes the Shakespeare reference align with hood. Like he can make Shakespeare stand in a metaphor about a street hustler and make let's say like Shakespeare was a pimp, right? Lupe would tell a story that would make this pimp look like Shakespeare. Yeah, he would only talk about this pimp. That's
what you're saying, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But his name would be William, right?
Yeah.
And then he would do all this like, oh, he had Juliet, and Juliet played Romeo, right? And then he had Othello. Like he would play these like these name games, right? But when I look at Lupe, especially around the time he came out, because really it took me and Mark a long time to even get that good, right? So when it comes to food and liquor, really it was like, man, there's sensibility, there's pop sensibility, right? And that's that ability to hear it the first time, right? Or what I call the Walmart listener. Like the Walmart listener hears it and goes, oh, I like the beat and I like what he said. And it's done, right? They don't ever want to think about it again. Compared to a college listener where they're like, man, there's some depth here. Let me dive into what he's doing. And Lupe is one of the few MCs that forced me to believe that I have to write a song that you have to repeat. Okay, before I used to just think, write like Doom. Just write the craziest bars you can think and get out of there, right? No hook. Who gives a fuck? But Lupe made me feel like you can still have a hook in there. You can still have pop sensibility. And you can still be intriguing. You can still have somebody come back and keep listening over and over. And more layers will reveal themselves. Lupe is like one of the only few guys that got me to think this way as far as songwriting. So, yeah, you can't move past. You can't avoid Lupe as far as what we're doing here.
Yeah. I thought what was funny is that he... one of his main features or early features, or actually him coming onto the scene, was featuring on Touch the Sky with Kanye West. Yeah. And he's famously known to like not wanting to even do that feature, which is crazy. Like this is a guy.
He's like the anti-artist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Like he had to be talked into doing it.
Right.
That's like...
I don't even want to get into his next album already, but did you guys ever feel when you guys listened to The Cool, did you feel like a light and a day kind of thing with him?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I was like,
I feel like he kind of evolved. Pokemon style.
To not deviate a little bit, I like the cool a lot. I think it's better than Food and Liquor, but it's it's a downer at sometimes. There's like at least 8 tracks that are just like shit. Like I could feel what he's going through, and I understand that he needed to put it on an album
because he did lose his father. I think a year after this album, Food and Liquor or so.
And Cool comes out in 07.
And he lost his best friend, I think, or one of his friends.
But I mean, the Cool is a play on death, right?
Yeah.
The Cool is
is it
your dead body. Yeah. But also, the Cool itself is to be the most desired, right? But think about it. Once again, we have this left hand, right hand concept that Lupe is really good at. Yeah. He's just really good at left hand, right hand. Tetsuo in Youth, right? Left hand, right hand. Food and Liquor, left hand, right hand. Food and Liquor 2, left hand, right hand. He's very good at it, man. It's part of his technique. And if I want to be really like precise about Lupe, is like if you want to like, take your lyricism to the next level, you're gonna see a lot of balance in what he does, like almost meditative balance. Whereas like Lupe could literally over lyric everybody. But he doesn't. He has this great balance. It's just perfect. It's like he never goes too far. He never out rhymes to the point where you can't feel it anymore. If I like Tone Deaf, right? Tone Deaf, our argument was he just rhymes so much after a while you kind of just go numb. Like, oh damn, he rhymed the whole sentence for like a whole fucking album, right? Compared to Lupe, it's like, wow, he's only going for 4 bars at a time. He's hitting you with extraordinary ideas. Lupe hit you with a lot of ideas, and he hits you with the Nas, with this exquisite storytelling. You get some Rakim with some themes and concepts. It's just like he's doing everything at once. Really fucking solid shit, man. It just feels ahead. It really does.
With the Food and Liquor thing, I saw a video. He was going back to Chi-Town, I guess, with his friend, and he was calling out like almost how every corner had like a Food and Liquor. He was like, I could count them out. 1, kept driving. 2, another Food and Liquor. 3, another Food and Liquor. So I think that's also another layer to it too, is that like where he was from,
Homeboy was being like furious in Boys in the Hood.
Like kind of like that too. Yeah.
It's good to bring up a point like that. It's I like when Andre brings up the idea, because in the beginning track he actually mentions the dichotomy of like life and death, food and liquor,
right?
And then this is also an homage to like, hey, look, there's also food and liquor joints too, and a lot of them inside. Lower income neighborhoods that just have it. It's almost like liquor store, gun store.
Where you taking me?
Like that. I enjoy an album where where the artist doesn't fall short from where he resides. And over here, you get tons of that. You get tons of like him just representing Chicago to the fullest.
What did you guys think of his feature on "Touch the Sky" when you guys first heard that? Did you guys enjoy that, or did you guys? I don't know. How did you guys took it?
I marked it
really
as
young. I was really young, so I was biased.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. It's youth bias. When I was a kid, whenever I heard a feature, it was like, get the fuck off the song. I want to hear my artist, right? So at the time, I didn't give Lupe a chance at all. It took time for me to give him a chance.
Yeah, the feature was good after the fact.
Yeah, after the fact.
It also marked the first time, to my knowledge, where someone actually rapped Lupin the Third.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, nobody mentions Lupin the Third. Like, everyone would mention Speed Racer, everyone mentioned everybody else. So I was like, damn, Lupin the Third finally gets.
But it was like an anime line, like that was like kind of obscure. But
to do it on a single like that, I was like, damn, okay.
But to be honest, I just to acknowledge my youth at the time, I just was biased.
Now looking back at it now, retrospect.
He killed it. Hell yeah, bars. He, it's a perfect compliment to what Ye was doing. That's why he put him on the fucking song.
Yeah.
But as a youth, I just, I want to hear Ye.
Right.
And
at the time,
when Lupe comes on, like, shut the fuck up. Who are you? But now, I gave him a fair chance. But what happened with this album? It was like, it was just like eye opening, because I was super. I can't lie, man. That period of time, it was just syllables. That's all I cared about. I didn't give a fuck about punches. I didn't care about metaphors. I need syllables, rhymes. And Lupe was like doing the syllable thing, but he was doing it in such a fucking obscure, backwards kind of way that I had to listen to the story. I had to listen to what he was talking about.
So it's always about those artists that make hip hop seem possible.
Yes. But it's like, what magic trick did he pull off?
In Lupe's respect, it's a little higher tier, but it's very attainable.
Yeah.
And later as you go on, especially if you're rapping with lyrical content, you can look at his stuff and be like, yeah, like you could tell where a lot of roots exist for a few artists, especially during this time, because you see a lot of deviation away from the atypical stuff in around that era.
Well, if I could add to you, I think what stood out on this one was it felt like there was a giant blueprint for the whole album. As a kid, I just thought you put songs together, man. It's just like you put the right songs in the order, right?
Yeah.
But this one felt like it had a plan. It had like a fucking storyboard and everything fucking fit this entire theme in a sequence. And I mean, Extinction Level Event really opened my mind, but what we got here was just so consistent as far as what he was trying to
so much
open your mind
structure,
with.
yeah.
Yeah, man, it's fucking weird. Like, because remember, at the time, it feels like Hideo Kojima, right? Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear Solid. It's like, you know, we have video games, you shoot the gun, you get a goal, and you win, right? But Hideo Kojima created this whole fucking dynamic where you have to sneak and go behind people and distract and you know, really use espionage, right?
With a good story.
With a great story, like fucking a
awesome
movie-esque story. And that's what I'm getting at. It's like you feel like you're playing a living, breathing movie, right? And I feel like Lupe grabbed some of those techniques and made a living, breathing album. It's like, it feels like, you know, you can navigate it and it's tangible. You know, that's Lupe's skill, bro.
That was the best opportunity for Isaiah to hit the green button. Literally talking about Metal Gear Solid. All of a sudden, I was just like,
do it anyway. Anyway. Yeah. Let's get it.
Sorry about that.
You missed your cue.
I want to say that, let's get into it. Our 3 songs that we were choosing today. We actually had a hard time again with this album because there's a lot of good ones. We ended up landing on 3 singles. And, you know, that took some compromise from our parts because there was just a lot. We all kind of had different songs, different tracks that we chose. But we ended up coming together and picking the 3 singles, which we have I Gotcha, Kick Push, and Daydreaming. But throughout the whole album, I mean, we can mention honorable mentions if we want through this.
Mention the Cool, Pressure.
Oh my God, Pressure is just extraordinary, man. You can't sleep on Pressure. Sunshine.
Never heard a hawk in the background in Pressure. All of a sudden, like, I was looking at the first time I heard it, I was like, what the hell? I was like, is it finally time? They're finally swooping in on my carcass.
But extraordinary work, and it feels like we kind of all landed on the singles, but it's not about landing on the singles. It's just extraordinary works for the album that this is. You know, I hate every fucking episode we have to reference time, and we have to say, the shit ain't easy to do around the time it came out. That's why it's extraordinary. That's why it got the rewards it received. It was just beyond its peers completely, man. It's like ridiculous.
And so we got the first track is going to be Kick Push. That's track number 4.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit! I put Push Kick. I had it backwards. I can't find the song.
And so what a way to introduce yourself. This is, you know, his single, and he's saying, you know, what's up, you know, world? This is Lupe Fiasco. I go by the name of Lupe Fiasco. So, like, it's our introduction to who Lupe is, you know.
Treating it like a single too, you know. It may not be. It may not. He's treating it as if the song is not going to be played from the album, but is directly going to be taken from like a file somewhere, or by legal or illegal means. I don't know. Well, but yeah, that's a cool way to cover your base.
If I could speak on this song personally, as a black man, skateboarding for black people was not common even around this time. So when I was skateboarding, I got ridiculed all the time. It was like, oh, what, you look like a white boy. What you doing, white boy? Right? Like I was getting clowned for skating, but it was so fun to skate, right? So when this song came out, it was like, wow, this is a rap song about skateboarding. And it's like, that was actually really weird. It was rare, right? Because even in my, like, you know, my lifestyle and what I was doing at the time, skating was like not okay for blacks. Not like it was like a racial issue, but it's like as a skater, there was just notes like you look like a white boy or you're doing white boy shit, right? But when Lupe dropped this, it almost felt like, oh, I can be comfortable as a black man skating. Like seriously. So when it came out, I was like, wow, some guy made a song about skateboarding. He just took shit to the next level, like escalated the idea.
Oh, for real. I mean, who's ever done something like that? You know?
Yeah.
and skating was such a big thing. There was so many opportunities. We have a lot of artists that could have easily talked about this, but no one did. And Lupe Fiasco talks about, I guess he went to a skateboard shop. He was getting his board put together, and the guy was inspired from the guy who was talking about skateboarding so enthusiastically, where he was just like, man, I gotta write a song about this, And so he, ends up putting it together, but he was inspired from that skateboard shop where the guy was putting it together. I don't know if you guys have had a skateboard put together recently, but I recently had, probably like a few years back. And, same thing. I had that same experience. The guy who was putting it together, he knew like every cranny and detail to this board. He knew like everything about
every
this
detail
thing.
of the ply. And
yeah.
everything.
If I asked him like, what about with bearings, man? He's like, oh, nah, dude, you got to go with this because you're going to get the most smoothest ride.
Yeah.
How do you like to ride your style? Do you like to are you more of kind of a grinder, or are you just trying to ride it, or
do you ride your trucks loose, or do you ride your trucks tight? All that shit. Yeah.
So there's skating is this whole other lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. That's what it is. It's not even just skateboarding. It's a lifestyle. And and that's what he talks about on this track is it's more of this rebellious, lifestyle that these kids are growing up in and living and just want freedom. They want to escape, and he captures that. And there was no track like that. No such track existed until he put that together. And I think when I heard that, I was just like, yeah.
Skating's acceptable.
just because
everyone can do it
because no one's entered that atmosphere like lyrically like that. Go ahead.
Well, because there's an argument out there, right, that the song isn't entirely about skateboarding, but it's about skating and pushing weed, right? I could see like the parallels in the first verse, but the second verse I can't find any connections. Like they don't go any, unless the girl he's talking about is the love for the selling of it,
right? But
I remember that rumor being out around this time. And that was another cool thing about the song. It was like, I thought he was talking about skateboarding. And like other people were like, no, he's talking about like pushing drugs. So it's like, wow, how does somebody write a song that creative, right? So in my understanding, the song is about skateboarding. But I don't know, if you really try, the first verse feels like he's paralleling to selling weed.
Yeah, I think you can at least take it to a general level where it's about grinding.
Yeah.
Just in general, grinding, you know? And not just in one, because he actually says something about legally and illegally. You know, however it is, you're grinding. You're hustling every day, whatever, to make your means. However that is. So he does. And what better? And we get also a reference of that when I think he talks about him and this girl. The security guard comes and they end up having to just kick push, like move on in life, like you keep going, and so kick push not only just means doing a kick flip or something, it means actually just keep pushing.
Well, I thought the security guard also was like a metaphor for the police coming and saying you can't push here. Yeah. So then they move to the next spot. Yeah. Well, it's just spot hopping though. It's just going to the next spot. But the parallels, I've seen people argue it, but I can't really claim that it's about that. I feel like it's more about skating than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's more about like the love of skating and that lifestyle, for sure.
He a good hustler's song.
Yeah, he drops, and because this is a single, I think it's really important. He does one, he introduces himself. Two, not only that, he also gives a shout out to his own label company, which he started, which is the First and 15th. So you check the boxes on those things that you should do as an artist.
And atypical of a rap song, period. Yeah. There's no fucking, like, I can't think of any skateboard songs that came out before without Pharrell involved. So I can't think of any. I feel like this was one of those. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
like my own family members were like, "Yo, get off that skateboard. You look like you look white. Get off of that." And after the song comes out, these motherfuckers doing kickflips in the street. So I feel like this definitely certainly impacted culture in regards to being an atypical rap song. It's just like it's not something that was typical. And then on top of that, like even those that didn't even understand what he was speaking on just got like the vibe. They just loved the vibe. The vibe was cool. I remember, my peers in school didn't even know it was about skateboarding. They just thought kick push was about just like walking around.
Yeah.
They didn't even know it was about skating. So I mean, even there's no skating here, right? They don't even hear that lyric. They just hear the fucking chorus. So Lupe pulled off something that made sense to me. The Walmart listener, right? The Walmart listener loves this song. They don't even know it's about skating. He's literally saying skating in the song. And then any like lyrical guys that hear this, that are actual rappers and songwriters, there's no hate for Lupe. It's like, oh damn, he wrote a fucking intricate rap song. Like it's perfect. So to me, it's, you know, it's like the iPhone, man. It's like the first iPhone, and we fucking got it, bro. Like it changed all of rap after that.
Yeah,
for sure, man.
First got it when he was 6, didn't know any tricks. Matter of fact, first time he got on it, he slipped, landed on his hip, busted his lip.
For a week, he had to talk with a lisp like this. I like that, man. But yeah. I mean, the visual, right? The visual, and then how he's bringing the visual down to the very narrative as well. Come on, man. Like, nerds lost their minds to this song, bro.
Yeah, I never talked with a lisp, but I like definitely had my share. I've definitely had my share of, you know,
now we can end the story right here, right? Like after, because after the first time you fall, I know this story. I bust my shit skating. Simple as riding your shit and just hitting a rock. Mm-hmm. And you're on the floor, bust your face, right? Look, that ass, like you could be riding smooth,
smallest
right?
rock,
the smallest pebble in the world. Just especially like when the moment you think nothing's gonna happen to your life, you're off the fucking skateboard. So I mean, you know, that could end your story right there. But something about the story of skating, just we could bust our shit, we could break our arm, come right back. I have a huge scar on my arm from when I broke my arm. I kept skating. I've literally I have metal plates on my arm from breaking my arm skating. Yeah. So like it just, you can't let it go.
It's seriously nuts to think about as a kid, like how crazy we were to like, when I try to think back, I'm like, why was I even trying to ollie or kickflip a 7 stair? Like, am I crazy? Like
X Games, baby. X Games had us thinking we would do it. Nah, that's what it is.
That lifestyle.
Yeah, Jackass and X Games had us thinking.
Yeah. What a beautiful combination to inspire the youth of America.
Yeah, of course. Keep your confidence high.
There's something definitely about that sport though, because you know, that sport in itself, I mean, to even call it a sport is a big deal. Before it wasn't recognized, it was more seen as this obscure thing, you know.
The X Games was able to put on Sam Masakela so hard that like in like years after, he ends up doing commentary for the World Cup.
Yeah.
So it's like you could see the effect of extreme sports actually leaking into the most popular sport in the world, which soccer, football for our European audience.
Spell it properly.
There was a lot of skaters at the time in middle school and high school that were into hip hop big time. A lot of the skater friends I had actually rapped, you know. So there was a base of skaters who loved hip hop. Yeah. But skating wasn't really represented in hip hop that way though until Pharrell came, until Lupe came. Then these guys started putting skating into Lil Wayne
put skating over.
They started putting it on, but before that it wasn't put on. Like it was more like, you know, Tony Hawk had a track list that was all just rock bands or alternative music, alternative rock. But
shout out to Tony Hawk. You brought a lot of people together.
Yeah,
bro.
sure.
Yeah. Those games brought a lot of people. I got Quasimodo off the Tony Hawk.
Public Enemy Anthrax joint.
Yeah.
That the remix they did.
That one was fire.
But to even bring Tony Hawk Pro Skater up too, man, you even have hip hop artists or even just people that didn't even skate love Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I probably kickflip like 5 times in my life, but I'm a very good skater in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
So on Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, did they start to bring like hip hop tracks on the background
in the PlayStation?
Yeah, on the first one, I don't remember the first Tony Hawk.
It was rocky as fuck. By the time we got the Tony Hawk Underground, which was
Tony Hawk Underground had
third or fourth one.
Yeah, Underground.
But Tony Hawk Underground, I remember that was my first legitimate taste of Quasimodo.
Okay.
And I was like, is this a real person?
Yeah,
like,
you even had Deltron 3030
on
it too.
Yeah, they had everybody on that one. That was the essential.
Supernatural was on it?
Yeah, bro. It was essential. It had all of the classics on that one, right?
But I think it did take time though, because from the get-go, it wasn't like that. And it started I think then make its way.
Yeah,
But
it was more rock oriented
yeah.
than it like poured in. But
Yeah, because
if-
I only
if we
remember
look
the
at
Public Enemy
timeline-
joint on the first one.
If you look at the timeline, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's like totally everything was rock around that time. So by the time we got to underground, we was hip hopped out, man. But on this one, man, in particular, like for like the love for it, right? So landed on his hit, busted his lip for a weekend, talk like a lisp like this or whatever. We get in the story right there, but Shorty didn't quit. It was something in the air, right? He's talking about like just skating, jumping. You know, if you ever jumped a curb or jumped over something, it's something in the air. Like the moment you get off, it's just fucking amazing. So I feel like every detail felt real, even though this motherfucker probably don't even skate. He just got the experience right. You know, something about just as a, you know, from my personal perspective, yeah, jumping stairs was cool. Even if it was 3 stairs, it just felt like you were God. If you got down to the 3,
it was so cool because at
just
that
felt like the
time too,
greatest.
everybody wanted to make their own, you know, skate tape.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
because they wanted to get sponsored, right? That was the big
Fucking
ticket.
quotes.
You know, I remember my cousin Nick. You know, Nick was big into like he wanted to get sponsored, and he was good skater. And I remember recording for him, like, you know, just like these home videos, recording like him kick flipping a 6 stair at a school, you know, and it was something about that lifestyle that was just, it felt good to be kind of out there, just kind of exploring things and trying to make, you know, trying to do something that's dangerous, but you know, you get a thrill out of doing it and completing a trick. I think there's some correlation. I don't know exactly where it's at, but there's some correlation between skating and hip hop. And there's like somewhere where they meet, you know, I don't know where it's at exactly, but there's somewhere where they're like kind of hand in hand.
Expression.
Expression. And I think some people try to pull off what rappers do, right? So some of your best skate runs are about 3 or 4 tricks in a row, right? So he's like, some guy jumps on a curb, grinds it, kick flips out of it, skates a little bit further, jumps over a bench, right?
Yeah.
Then does a 360 kick flip, right? That to me is the same as rapping a verse without fucking it up. Because when you think about recording the skating video, they fuck up their takes. So it's like, okay, he did a kickflip, grind, then he tried to jump the bench, fell, bust his ass. All right, let's run it back, just like rap. So it's like we do the same thing. We do multiple takes to get the perfect run.
You know what I also think? It's also something that anybody can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
anybody could rap, anybody could skate. It just and sometimes it feels they both have an underground to them. There's a hip hop underground, there's a skating underground
Absolutely.
feeling.
Yeah.
You know, so they both also have that too. I think that's cool. It's interesting. But I just wanted to bring that to the air, you know.
He knew he couldn't doubt it, couldn't understand it, brand it since the first kickflip he landed. Labeled a misfit, a bandit. His neighbors couldn't stand it. So, you know, that sound, you know, if you know, skater going down the
Just
block.
you practicing your 360 flip or something and just failing over and over.
But going down the curb, just simply
Even
going
that,
down the curb.
even that.
That's you going on the
See,
sidewalk.
I'm picturing somebody trying to do a 360 flip and they just like, you know, they try it again.
I got you.
But
Yeah, practicing over and over and over.
Yeah, either or though.
I got you.
Either way.
So he was banished to the park because he couldn't skate in his neighborhood. They were like, get the fuck out of here, right? Banished to the park, started in the morning, wouldn't stop till after dark. When they said it's getting late in here, I'm sorry, young man, there's no skate. And so we kick, push. So it's the same deal. I fell in love with this culture, right? So if you make it ambiguous, you can say that culture could be drugs. You can say that culture can be skating. That culture could be rap music itself.
Yeah.
We could literally make any subject about it.
That chorus is so ambiguous. It can mean so many different things.
Exactly. So that's another thing about Lupe's writing is the ambiguity of it. He's great at ambiguity. Earl Sweatshirt is excellent at ambiguity. He's like, he never says you suck at rap. He says these MCs are bad, right? Or the rapper that talks is the worst. Like he doesn't say you suck as a rapper. He says the rappers are wasteless, right? He just say like something so out of the box. MF Doom does that too. He doesn't necessarily point and say you are the wackest MC in the room. He says the MC in the red sweater is getting me mad, right? And then you think of any MC in the game lately that's rocking red sweaters, maybe a bunch of MCs trying to be Bloods. So I just feel like, you know, that's the layer that Lupe digs into. The idea is though, the song feels timeless. It just feels like we can literally have this discussion on any culture.
Yes, yeah.
You fall in love with something, you lose your mind about it, and you drive other people crazy.
It's a real
with it.
good song about a specific culture too.
Exactly.
Like actually giving homage to a lot of points here.
Right.
This
So he grows up. My man got a little older, became a better roller. So what? Okay, so the weed connection, right? He got a little older, became a better roller, right? But it's about skating, right? Became a better roller. Yeah, no helmet, hell bent on killing himself is what his mama said. But he was feeling himself. I got a little more swagger in his style. Met his girlfriend. She was clapping in the crowd. So got a little swagger in his style. Met his girlfriend. So some people say the metaphor is the girlfriend is the love for selling weed.
Oh, I see.
She's the one that makes him want to do it.
I see.
But I don't see. I don't want to agree with it. I think it's more about skating.
And I was listening to this kind of with that, already in mind that possibly might have a double meaning.
Yeah.
But I myself I didn't get that feeling that it like I didn't get I get the feeling more it was sticking to the skating, but also grinding on the other level. But it's more so sticking to the story of skating myself.
Okay.
So I'm with you as well on that, Andre. I didn't get that feeling that it's really trying to make that point that it's also this that he's talking about.
Yeah, maybe the girlfriend can be his love for it, but to me, it's like I love the stretch of Lupe. Yeah. So Lupe, I have this concept called trust factor. Mm-hmm. If you're like a God level MC, your trust factor is up here. Mm-hmm. So you can stretch as far as the sun and make it make sense. Jay-Z can say a car up a hair, right? And you hear car and hair and somehow connect that shit and make it sound cool. You can make it sound completely ridiculous, but it will connect because it's Jay-Z. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Lupe. You can connect 3 or 4 different dots that make absolutely no sense to each other, and it works for Lupe. But if you pick Webby and you try to do the same thing you would do for Lupe, right? Webby's saying his car is representative of the metaphor for the struggle of the African-American people. It doesn't work that way, right? Chameleonaire is talking about the struggle of the diamond in comparison to your neck, which is where you speak from. It sounds stupid. But if Lupe says it, rocking a necklace can't speak, you'll be like, okay, it's in representative of the diamonds restricting him from talking because it's like a chain on his neck.
Yeah.
That's called trust factor.
Yeah,
trust factor is your ability to stretch your mind so far beyond the word you're looking at that it'll make sense to somebody. But other MCs do not have trust factor at all. Like, I don't have no trust factor for Lil Yachty. I am not going to stretch for Lil Yachty at all. But for Lupe, I will attempt to Dawsim it a little bit, just throw my arm as far as I can.
Because he's so gifted and so smart and intelligent.
He's smart. If a line sounds dumb, he potentially could have done it on purpose. Yeah. Compared to Lil Yachty, I got bitches on my mermaid dick. And you're like, okay, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I get you. The second verse is a good highlight to the skill that I wanted to bring up about Lupe, in that I haven't heard an MC be really good at unstressed rhymes so much to the point where it feels like that's his forte.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Go into this, Mark. You're bringing this point up.
It's so you go further into it where he's met his girlfriend, he's clapping in the crowd, love as well as happening to him now. Yeah. And he's like, I would marry you, but I'm engaged to these aerials and varials, and I don't think this board is strong enough to carry 2. And then she said, bow, I weigh 120 pounds. And then he ends up going with this other one, part 2, because you can actually hear him say it. So he took him to a spot he didn't know about, some modern apartment parking lot. Like when he says about, like you don't hear it, you don't hear the OUT part of it.
Yeah.
But you didn't know about.
Yeah.
That's how that's how you make it
how
sound.
He connects
like
them syllables is crazy.
He's really good at it. It's almost as if it's his primary attribute in his rhyme style, but it's something that I feel that
like slants, right? So
yeah.
what Mark is saying is Lupe like has this really crazy slant style of rhyming, right? When we talk about MF Doom and Elzai, they will rhyme curb and perturbed, right? Because they have the exact same accented sounds.
Yeah, you've talked about that. Yeah.
Whereas Lupe, he can rhyme cat and bass, right? Like bass for fish and cat. And he was like, going for the cat deep underwater, he'll be going for the bass. And it works because it's Lupe. So it's like Lupe can slant everything, but that's the thing I was saying earlier. When you listen to him rhyming, he's doing those high level 4 to 5 syllable rhymes, but they're so slanted, it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like he's doing like what we're familiar with, right? Yeah. Like he's landing on this 2-3 syllable rhymes, but Lupe's doing these like massive rhymes, but you don't hear them clearly. It's like they're hidden. Lupe's really great at hiding certain rhyme patterns And Open Mike Eagle, I think he's great at hiding rhyme patterns too. If you listen to Open Mike Eagle, you'll go, wait, what? He rhymed the whole sentence. I didn't hear that at all. I only heard 2 words rhyme, but he rhymed the whole sentence for like 12 bars, right? Lupe does something similar.
What do you guys think is harder to do, slants or to rhyme it exactly like the way like MF Doom would do it?
Oh,
which
exact.
one's harder?
Pure rhymes. Pure rhymes
Pure
are
rhymes is
fucking
harder?
whack. I hate pure rhymes. Like as a freestyler, I can't rhyme like Doom or Elzai because the pures will fuck you up really bad. You know, I have to rhyme car and bar exactly, you know, but I can rhyme, you know, if I'm slanting, I can rhyme car and fart, you know, with a T at the end. And like that matters.
Yeah, a little more easement
right.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, or, you know, but I feel like, you know, MF Doom will rhyme far and Jafar and par and lar. Like he'll keep everything exactly perfect. That's not easy to do. It's stressful as a writer. But if you want your story to get out, right, you're not going to restrict yourself with all these difficult, perfect rhymes. You're just going to stress them. That's what Lupe, that's true. Stress them and just make a better, write a better story.
C-Master Ace.
Right.
They're all C-Master Ace and Long Hot Summer.
That shit's difficult, man. So when you listen to Elzai and MF Doom, give them their fucking flowers because those are fucking difficult, man. Those rhymes are hard to do. And Pharrell, I think Pharrell Monch too. Very hard. Pure rhyming sucks. Pure rhyming is like, okay, in the 90s.
This is going to be a hot take some like rebel dude is going to take from us. Listen to what lyricology says about pure rhymes.
It's always
He's
about
a lyricologist. He's supposed to like them.
Nah, it's all about pure rhymes.
Fuck that shit. Slants. Slants are easier, bro. Slants.
No, what if it's the guy from that Back to the Future video? That guy's voice. As he was lurking on the subject of slant rhymes. And he focuses him.
None of the rhymes were pure. Pure.
What's the meaning of this?
Find out in 30 years.
The lyricologist isn't pure himself. He's had sex multiple times. It's all like some stupid shit that like you have to be all pure. You have to be pure. He's not a pure rhymer. He's not pure anything in any regard.
Let's pull up some of his lyrics.
Let's look up the purity of his lyrics. But yeah, so as far as pure and slants, slants are exactly easier. I mean, no lie, man.
Lupe's really good at it.
Yeah, Lupe is excellent at them though. He's superb at them. And you know, I don't think I'm not taking any points off of it because your Walmart listener don't know. Yeah. If it sounds good, it sounds good. Your super lyricists are the only ones that are like going to be particular about
I was thinking at first that the rhyming exactly would be easier. No. You know, because I was thinking, okay, well, you know, nowadays we have internet, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to look up a rhyme or something, I'm going to get a list of like 30 words that could easily rhyme with that word exactly. But
playing and
like
stain
a lot of people could
rhyme if you slant them.
Yeah.
Playing and stain can rhyme slanted, but playing and stain will not connect. They won't, not staying, stain, like a stain on the floor.
Yeah.
So playing and stain do not perfectly match, but great MCs can play and stain, you know, they make it sound good. So as far as the patterns are concerned, man, Lupe, I felt like he sacrificed pure rhymes for fucking excellent script writing. His scripts are perfect, man. Who gives a shit, you know?
All right, let's see. Where were we at? Were we on the third verse?
Yeah, we were at the towards the end of the second.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's him and his girl.
Yeah, his girl takes him to a new skating spot, but she takes him to a new skating spot, which is also kind of very personal, right? You know, so as a skater, there's certain spots you hit up, you know, for like, you know, and it's only from my personal culture and my experience when I was younger, we had just places we would go to and just fucking tear them apart until security kicks us out or somebody's parent comes out and says, I hate skating. Like, honestly. So for somebody to take you to their skating spot, it's very personal. You know, like, oh, this is where I skate. And then it's a new skate place. Like, you can skate there now. Yeah. So I felt like that was really cool as far as meeting somebody that has the same passion as you.
Exactly. That's another thing, too. She had her own board. Yeah. She's like, no, I got my own board. Like, what guy doesn't love that? Like, the other girl shares the same love that you have for this thing. Right. She shares it, too.
And that metaphor could also be rap. So, you know, if you love rap and you meet a chick that likes rap and you both.
That's crazy.
That's what that rap venue could be is an album, right? So it's like, oh, have you heard this album? No.
Have you guys, you know, I don't know, any females that you've talked to that you had love interest in that actually rapped?
No.
Nah.
I've talked to one before.
What? Nah.
I broke up with her because she battled me.
I haven't messed.
I know. Over a battle? Over a rap
she wrote a diss track about me.
I met poets, but poets and painters. Yeah. Poets and painters, but not rappers. Just poets and painters. And usually the painters are fucked up.
Yeah, poets and painters. I have more bad luck. Than them.
What if she rapped better than you?
Yo,
That's impossible.
yeah.
I'm kidding.
I just checked my conscious.
You saw I was like,
I just checked my consciousness.
Yeah, like she was like Nicki Minaj with it, like just.
No, but I didn't meet a chick that rap. But one of my sisters, I didn't have a love interest in her, but she was one of my sisters. You know, we were cool. And she got me into Cambada pretty hard, man.
For reals.
Yeah, she like proved Cambada. She was like, nah, he's different. Like, listen to these lyrics. And she literally got on the phone with me and broke down one song with me. Like like how I break down shit with you. Yeah. She's like, nah, you got to listen to these lyrics with me right now. So she's playing the song with me. She's like, did you not hear what he just said? Born of a more prodigy. Like what does that mean? And she's like breaking this shit down. So that was pretty cool. That was weird. Like, and then I got
You're all writing it down? No, tell me more and just ripping it.
Yeah, no, for real.
On your next YouTube video?
Next YouTube.
I was on a phone call with Cambada himself, right? I'm like, yo, you know what's funny? A female got me into you, right? He's like, what? Like, he didn't believe me. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, some chick, she was an Aquarius, man. She just was down with your music, got me into Cambada / cannabis. He was like, what? Imagine Cambada himself talking to you. I was like, what?
Oh, I'm sorry. This was Keanu Reeves.
Right.
I'll call you back. I'll get Cambada for you on the phone right now.
It's Keanu Reeves.
He's like, what?
Cambada Reeves.
Oh, shit.
Anyway,
She put you onto me?
what was her name? I went away to her house.
So what'd you think about it?
Damn.
Mark's giving the signal to clean it up.
Yeah. Trust me, I love tangents and everything. But shit.
Let's get back on board, fellas.
All right.
Verse 3.
Before he knew,
Before he knew he had a crew, he wasn't no punk, and they Spitfire shirts and SB dunks.
shout out to Spitfire.
Yep.
Shout out to
SB
Spitfire.
Dunks. Shout outs to those.
They were pushed till they couldn't skate no more. Office building lobbies wasn't safe no more. It wasn't like they wasn't getting chased no more. It's just the freedom was better than breathing, they said. An escape route they used to escape out when things got crazy. They needed to break out. And they did. They had to any place with stairs, any good grinds. The world was theirs.
You guys ever seen
Any good grinds?
You guys ever seen the movie? What was it called? 90s Kid or something like that. It was
Kids?
about skating. Yeah, no, it wasn't Kids though.
See
it was
that
a
one
recent
movie, Kids?
There was that movie too, but there was a recent one actually about the 90s.
Oh, I think it was called just the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
No, I didn't check
don't
that
guess
out.
it was about skating too around this area.
I didn't check that out.
What about Kids though? You guys seen Kids?
Yeah, I think the only reference to kids and skating, some dude really got beat. He got his ass whooped by a skateboard.
My mama didn't let me watch Kids.
Yeah. It was one of those.
These two, what's her name?
It was definitely. It starts off with him taking the virginity of.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you can't watch that shit.
It's piece to homegirl that's playing Osaka now.
Nice. Okay.
What's her name? She was in Clerks 2. Hot.
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
Shoddy.
She was in.
She came through with
She was in Kids. Yeah.
Yeah, Shoddy.
shoot, I didn't
It's a
know that.
Shoddy.
And they.
Speaking of Rosario Dawson, I got you. Is our next track. So
That's a stretch. That's stress.
that's a stretch. That's a stress rhyme right
Good
there.
example. there.
Dawson got you. That's a perfect stress right there.
Damn.
But
Working
yeah.
when he's not working. Look at that.
Hey, produced by the Neptunes, man. So
Hell of a
anything.
Yes.
And okay, let's get to it. This beat, for it to be a single pop level, this fucking beat is ridiculously weird. Like on some real shit, like really, this beat is kind of unbelievable for a pop record. Really, I mean,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're
like
saying.
what the fuck is the rhythm? What is it like? Especially for the time, for it to be a hip hop song, man. It didn't sound like hip hop.
It felt
just
like
sounded
it had the
some
option.
other shit.
It felt like you had the option to take out the horns or the piano, and
But
it
the,
still would
every
have
sound on this bitch is the Neptunes. Like it's like
Yeah,
every
it is.
Neptunes
It is.
at the
Right.
moment signature
It was
sound. Those
unordinary
horns,
though. It was unordinary.
the piano, the just the bounce on the rhythm was just fucking
I
totally
told you,
unusual.
It sounds to me like just to
cymbal
get by.
crash too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like Just to
yeah.
Get By to me, but Just to Get By did a better job, I think, of making it more kind of traditional.
Mm-hmm.
But it had that sound though of that.
Well, it's more dissonant. It doesn't
yeah.
feel like even the dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun dun
But see,
dun
like-
dun dun. It's like
But
it's
to
just
me, like saying all that,
atypical. It's
saying
weird.
all that though, I still enjoyed the beat though. I
Oh yeah.
loved it.
I'm not saying
loved
it's
it.
bad.
Right.
I'm saying it's
just-
it was challenging for
Right.
a pop song.
For like, let's say a Walmart listener. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
would be more challenging.
It's like they're trying to catch what the fuck.
It's
the
not as
rhythm is.
inviting or welcoming,
Yeah.
for that kind of listener. It definitely has to be,
Especially off the jump too, because then you hear this and then you hear Lupe in the background, Chicago man, like and then you just get like this overload audio wise. Anyway,
right.
it
But when you listen back to it,
Oh
like, I
my
thought the beat was
gosh.
sick. The
Oh,
beat
this
was
beat's-
dope.
This
You know,
beat's ridiculous.
yeah.
this is has to be one of the best
But
songs on
it
this
definitely
album,
could be
man.
one of those things though, like we were saying, where Lupe is like sometimes so far ahead. It could be one of those things too. Like we weren't really ready for that at that point in time, or the masses wasn't ready for that.
Oh yeah, it was
You
different.
know what I'm saying?
Very different. Very different. They call me Lupe. I'll be your new date. They want to smell me like they want my bouquet. That's a 5. So he's swinging them 5 syllables. Just the 5-syllable swing. Just the way the cadence runs, right? So it's like everything is perfectly on rhythm. It sounds beautiful. Though he runs with that flow for most of the song, but it's just beautiful, man. But they can't. They accented like the UK. Turn that Ude Lupe to Pepe Le Pew spray. How do you say that on a fucking pop record, man? It's a pop record. Like this kind of shit to me, I think works for like what the Neptunes were trying to do as far as the radio sound. So like I feel like Neptunes just bent the needle in a whole new way
for sure.
and
for
Lupe
sure.
made that shit work, bro.
He made it work. Yeah.
So yeah, I think he had found an anchor to like he anchored himself to this flow and it worked perfectly. So, yeah.
And you have no choice but to rock because
You gotta bob your head.
It's like
man.
fragrantly fragrant. and
Pepe
they can't escape
Pepe
it.
Le Pew spray, like
Yeah.
you know, but that's that stink though, right? Because
Yeah.
Pepe Le Pew is a skunk, so it's just some funky shit, right? Flagrantly fragrant, right? Which is like Pepe Le Pew spray, and they can't escape it like Pepe Le Pew spray. So once again, we got it. My perfume
Sucks that he got
perused
canceled.
them everywhere that they went, right? So he's still talking about his fragrance. You don't want alone, leave my cologne alone. It's a little too strong for you to be putting on. Still on the Pepe Le Pew spray. So everything he's saying is connected, man. I'm like, to write a pop song this intricate is still really unreasonable, especially in the rap world, man. Like, so this is the needle being bent right in front of your eyes, man.
I love how Lupe came upon his name too. I don't know if you guys heard that story. I guess a friend of his name was Lupe, and his name had I think his last name had Lou in it or something like that, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but he took that name and said, "Hey, I like your name. It's flashy. I'm gonna use it for my like stage name," and took Lupe. And then Fiasco, he came upon Fiasco too. I don't know if it was some track that inspired him on Fiasco. I forgot what song it was specifically, but some hip hop song inspired him. He took Fiasco. He was like, "Oh yeah, that sounds dope, Lupe Fiasco," and just came upon that and talked about how that to him means like before he gets into any fiasco or any craziness, he's always going to think intentfully before
He makes
a fiasco.
the loop
Yeah.
pay. There we go.
Andre's really good at that.
I was thinking about Lou from Mortal Kombat. Lou.
But it says a lot to his approach to the game. Somebody who really thinks it out before he makes that decision or makes that step. Like he turned Jay-Z down.
Yeah.
He didn't just
playing
go
chess, man.
Yeah, exactly. He's playing chess. He didn't just say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to join you." No, I'm going to make my own label. I'm going to do this my way. Like that's the type of character we're dealing with here.
Right.
Some guys wouldn't even let the ink dry on the paper when he prints up the contract. Well, yes, sir.
It's still dripping, man.
It's The Rock. It is definitely The Rock, Mr. Z.
I signed it twice just for
Mr.
you.
Z.
Trust me, I say this justly. I went from musty to musky and y'all can't mush me. I warn y'all cornballs, I hush puppies. So, of course, a cornball is a hush puppy. I just love the comparisons. The swans in the pond call me duck ugly. So we got the swans and pond. So once again, we got them stresses. Swans and pond, Doom wouldn't go for those. It'll be swans and coupons.
Cons,
Yeah,
some
cons,
shit.
coupons, wand. Wand wouldn't even work. You can't even use wand. That's how hard pure rhymes are. You
have to
can't
use,
match
like,
wand with swan.
You have to use bond or something.
No, you can't use any D. You have to go on, A-N. You have to end with A-N. That's how perfect.
Oh, for swan, I was talking about pond. my
Oh,
bad.
okay, yeah. No, for swan, you have to go A-N. You have to perfectly match A-N. That's how hard Doom and L ride, man. It's not fair. I don't do those anymore at all. It's not even worth it in this year. People are not looking for those at all, man. They're not. They want the flow to be tight, man. That's all. But yeah, call me Duck Ugly. So Swan's in the pond, ugly duckling, because he's unique, right? But now they hug me because it's lovely. They love the aroma of the world. Got the shakers and the skaters and the players and the girls. Keep the fakers and the flakers and the haters in the twirl. Can you rhyme that whole shit?
I like that.
Come on, man. And then, okay, once again, slants. It's all slants. Shakers and skaters are slants. Sorry, they're stressed rhymes. Doom wouldn't rhyme shakers and skaters. It'll be shaker and baker. That's how fucking hard this shit is. So he's on beat on this one too. Perfectly on the beat.
Oh,
Dun, 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 dun,
yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
Especially with that bridge that goes to the chorus. And
Oh
he's
yeah,
just
it's
like,
fucking
"Flakers
dope.
and the flakers
So
and the
he's
haters
rhyming.
and the
Look,
twirl."
Zay. He's that for that couplet. Those are 2 full rhyme sentences. Got the shakers and the skaters and the players and the girls. Keep the fakers and the flakers and the haters in the twirl. Damn, that's hard to do, man. That's what Tone Deaf does for whole verses, but Lupe just does it for the end.
I like rhymes like that because they have, like, for me when I'm writing, when I come upon a line like that's like this, got the shakers and the skaters and the players, I kind of know where I want things to be, and at least I have kind of that knowing, and all I have to do now is, okay, what word am I fitting here? And then once it comes, it's like there's just like that feeling of like, oh yes,
The bing
that's
light
it.
bulb.
Yeah, the aha moment that happens as a
Exactly.
writer when you write this like line. I'm sure he had that moment. And like,
That shit ain't easy, man.
Dude, I used to.
That shit ain't
You
easy,
used to
bro.
know when someone had a dope, like if you guys are all doing a track together, you knew the person that had like a dope bar come up because
Sure.
they would be prone like this, right? And all of a sudden,
oh yes, yeah.
they like
you start seeing the
tilt
fire in
up
their eye all of a sudden,
and like they like get this jolt of energy. And they're like, oh, shit, you know?
they're like, I'm about to spit this.
Yeah,
You get-
dog.
Or if they grab the pen differently and they're
Yeah,
like doing some different shit.
start writing on walls.
Like Raekwon just writing on the cup and shit, like anything around him. But yeah, man. No, this for a track like this though, I just feel like flow wise, he got the pockets right,
Yes,
man.
yes.
But also, Pharrell's in the mix, so Pharrell's gonna make sure you do it perfectly.
Yeah.
I feel like Pharrell and Dre have this, system to make
Yeah.
sure you give the best
Did
performance.
you guys see that new footage that they found where like Pharrell's coaching Justin Timberlake on Rock Your Body?
I
Dog.
didn't see that one. No.
You guys got to look it up after this, but it's like it's similar to what you guys are saying as an example. Like Pharrell's literally leading the horse, which is Justin Timberlake, to the water of Rock Your Body, and Rock Your Body is a fucking dope jam.
Yeah, it is. It
and
is.
it's like he's using Justin as the instrument to what
He's guiding
Pharrell's writing.
Interesting,
Oh, dog,
yeah.
you'll see it. But
That's
anyway,
interesting.
it's a good point because Pharrell's going to be that same example for Lupe, especially if he's in the studio with him during that.
Yeah, right.
And I'm
No,
from
I feel like okay, so
Chi-Town.
Pharrell definitely is the right. That's Pharrell.
Yeah.
That's Pharrell all day. So yeah. But and I'm from Chi-Town. That's where I flies round. Keep some Cartier frames over my eyes. Now we used to, so he's still in the same cadence, same flow. And how do you get away with that? You got the same flow for the whole fucking song? It reminds me of 50 Cent a bit. Like he can get away with one flow and just run through that shit.
Yeah.
Keep some Cartier frames over my eyes. Now we used to gang bang. A lot of that's died down, but I feel like he was doing a double metaphor. The gang bang is died down because there's so much death in it. Children of the hat tilting, keeping hope alive now. All with no high, I do it so fly. Banksy's attack helicopter with the bow tie. Man, man, Lupe's on it. I love my city. Really hope that God bless it. Have my mind moving faster than the hog in the hedges. Sonic the Hedgehog. So, I mean, but think about it. Once again, that metaphor breakdown, right? We can say Sonic the Hedgehog, but the hog in the hedges, right? We just put all our pieces around.
Sick way to do it, man.
And then what? When you hear it, what do you have to do? I have to grab hog, hedges. What does that mean?
Right. Boom.
Bam.
This is a good point too, where he goes, "Welcome all of y'all to my dark recesses. This is where I keep the bars like bathtub
bathtub edges.
Dark recesses could still mean a bathtub.
Yeah, but
Dark recesses.
Yeah,
how-
because it's like a dark recess is like a deep depression, and bathtubs have that in there too. So And then he gets talking
And
about
then
matched soaps.
He keeps the bars right like bathtub edges because you put your bar soap on the bathtub edge, and then he does the whole soap scheme. But remember, soap. Okay, 2023. Battle rap audiences are out there. Schemes are normal now. This is what Lupe's doing, is a scheme. But Lupe isn't over, I don't want to call it over associating the scheme, right? Because nowadays, when I dawn on you, you'll feel fresh when I soap up. You know, they overemphasize the words as they connect the associations. Whereas Lupe's just kind of speeding through them. Like Jay-Z at the time was over associating in the perfect way, right? Golden hair. Right, and his golden hair, right? He's just Super Saiyan. I'm just golden hair, right?
It's funny he was it's funny too. We just covered Master Ace, who also did that track. Remember all the soaps and all that?
Yeah. So I love the association, man. So Ivory, Dove, my levers, and my zest. This takes half of your bubble bath to match the freshness, right? Because he's doing a bubble bath play. The belly of the beast, I'm from it. A rapid in a towel, hit Gomer Powell in the stomach. Wait, but okay, so belly of the beast, right? We got Gomer Powell, but the belly of the beast is when you come out the tub, you cover your belly with the towel, right? And I be on my green like Irish Spring, and I coast, fudge it with get a mouthful of soap. So if you talking shit, you can get a mouthful of soap. So I love the connections off the soap.
A Christmas story,
right? I love that shit, man. I love any good plays and associations. I feel like Lupe is like the godfather of that, man. But early on, Jizza was definitely the one like to get cast and get there. Like,
now, what do you think about people who call Lupe Fiasco kind of like an early Kendrick Lamar? Do you see any relations there?
Okay, well, if you connect Lupe to Kendrick, the only connection I'll see is the conceptualization. Like, and what I mean by conceptualization is just like the concept has to be far past what you expect from a rap song, right? Dang, I can't think. Section 80, the one there's I think it's Section 80, or it's Good Kid, Mad City. But basically, it's two people on the song, and they both end up dead at the song. Right, and one of the person, he's like, if I die before you release your album, I just want you to know, and he gets shot, and then that's the end of the verse. And then the next one is some female talking about, how dare you bring up my sister in your song, trying to use us to get profit, blah blah blah. And by the end of the song, she's like, I'll never fade away. And as she's talking shit to Kendrick, she literally fades out of the song, and then she's gone. And that concept alone was so deep to me. I was like, damn, that's some Lupe shit. Lupe goes past the writing. He's going past the words you're looking at, Kendrick goes past the words you're looking at and tries to give you more depth in the experience. That's why Good Kid, Mad City feels like a fucking film. Close your eyes and really watch it. When Dave dies, I'm like, Dave's dead. Oh my God. Like, his homie gets shot up he gets hit in a drive-by, and you feel it. It's like, it's crazy. So anyway, Lupe to me felt like he has the same level of execution. He's not going to write I'm better than you rap song every fucking song. He's going to write, I went to the store, and when I came to the store, a man was on fire, and I put water on him and saved his life, right? Yeah. That's a very unique story, right? And he'll make it sound really good. I hope that never happens to anyone, but, that's just the idea.
Yes, exactly.
It's an interesting story,
I like that about Lupe Fiasco, is that you could think a typical rapper might hit a beat and think, oh, I'm going to write like a love story. He'll look at it and be like, nah, I'm going to write about terrorism.
Yeah. Child soldiers. I'll write about child soldiers.
So I love that about him. Because you don't know what
I'll write about bus transits in Chicago and make it sound like.
He'll make it dope.
And he'll make it dope and pop sensible.
I'll write about ESPN, and it's just like, he can make that shit. He could talk about Shaq and Charles Barkley and make that shit sound good. So it's just what he does, Verse 3, and so to sign off this beat, I rhyme off. It's the Thelonious P, Hugo, Mind Boss. So we got the Neptunes in the game. But once again, Thelonious P, Hugo, Mind Boss, right? He doesn't say Chad Hugo. He says Hugo. So I just feel like he's, playing it off. What I like about hip hop is like, we can say the sky is blue, but what MCs will do is like the sky is the color of any blue object you can think of, right?
The ocean
sky,
or something.
The ocean, your swimming pool, sky looking like your swimming pool, right? That's the type of shit that I love from Lupe. He doesn't say that, you were on fire, you were engulfed in the hotness.
He's a master of saying things indirectly, for sure.
Yeah, he's like a no-look pass type of guy.
Yeah,
right?
yes.
All of this shit feels like no-look passes. And you just catch them and you keep the game going, right? You feeling in the air is such fine force.
But you don't hear me though, just like a mime's toss. That's because I'm in Europe. Me and my friends Tura. I'm on my pimp. My temperature is tempura. I take it easy. I'm on my watch. I'm watching TV and I clean on my harishi. See, the hair is trying to beat me.
Okay, so he's on the beat again. This is that moment where dun 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 dun. So he's heavy on the beat. He's anchored on that bitch easy. I take it easy on my watch. I'm watching TV and my clean is my heart. My harishi. See, the hair is trying to beat me.
Tortoise in the hair. Little shout to the tortoise in the hair.
I like
Shout
that.
out to Tortoise.
That's fucking fire, man.
Continue to do loose pace. They say him got 2 heads and 4 eyes,
like
just
Screwface.
just like Screwface. But see, my secret's safe. It's in my secret safe. That's in my secret room on my secret base. So from the runner of the FNF crew, coming hip hop, we come to resurrect you. Could have said a couple bars, but you went with you. You want the flavor, ma? I got ya.
Could have said a couple.
Peace to
bars.
Lupe. Peace to Lupe on that.
Yeah, solid, man. For a
Solid.
pop record, man, like a fucking pop record.
Now this record didn't do as well. I think I mentioned this already. Didn't do as well, but I mean, you could go back to this track and it's all
heck,
there.
dude.
It's all there.
Yeah,
Any sound system would love this track.
Yeah.
dun 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 dun. The piano, the piano. on that
So
bitch is
we got
nice.
third track coming up now. Which
Daydreaming.
is Daydreaming. Any honorable
Daydream.
mentions before we get into Daydreaming?
Shout out
that you
to
guys wanna
Pressure,
mention?
Pressure.
The Cool. The Cool's good.
I liked American Terrorist.
Yeah. Kick Push 2 is good. The sequel.
I thought the outro was phenomenal.
Outro was dope.
It was one of the best outros we've had in hip hop history.
This is an outro where doesn't he talk on the end of this one? On
Yeah.
the outro,
Yeah.
talks it out.
I think that's one of the first outros I cried the entire time.
Cried the entire
I mean, literal first seconds, tears.
Lupe got into it. I hate bringing up the Cool a lot, but then like he mentions on the outro to the Cool that his next album, which would have been LUP End, would have been his last one.
Man, yeah, Lupe. Man.
So he was already on a sick one. Like after that,
Lupin would have been.
yeah. So then,
Wish we had that one.
but Pressure had the Jay-Z feature on it.
Yes.
And
that beat is nice.
the pin's mightier than the sword, my lord.
That's a good way to start it, man. So the pen is mightier than the sword, my lord. So it sounds like a kid with like a hat looking at the king. Yeah, so the pen is mightier than the sword, my lord.
That's funny. What was it? There was another one too where they say something like something about like the pen is mightier than the martyr or something like that. That was on one of the tracks in the beginning.
The death of
Yes, something like that.
the death of a martyr will never outshine something.
The writer, something to that effect.
Yeah.
The author.
Yeah.
It's probably the author.
Something like that. Yeah.
Probably the author.
So that was also another dope little. I think that was deeper than. Oh yeah, here it is. It says the ink of a scholar is worth 1,000 times more than the blood of a martyr. This was on the American Terrorist track. And that I thought was pretty dope. Just inspires me as a writer, to
just stop
to
writing.
really to like, because sometimes when you're writing too, it's like it hasn't manifested yet, so it's almost like, what am I doing? Is it until it actually comes together where you feel like, okay, this is something. So sometimes it can be like, it could almost be disencouraging, because when you're in the middle of that process, you question yourself, is this worth it? What am I doing? And I think when you muscle through that and push through and you come to a completion, you realize, yeah, this was worth it. Hey, there's substance here.
Yeah,
There's things that is
like
said that carries weight, and you
It's
put
like
it out there.
It's like the pain when you're working out.
Yeah.
Working out's not fun.
Yes, yeah.
But it's, you do it and then you feel a lot better after you done did it.
right.
After your gains.
And and then writing's equally as exhausting, man.
But do you think it's more stronger, like something written in ink? And like, let's say one of the greatest speeches out there. Let's just say a speech.
Martin Luther King's speech.
Let's take Martin Luther King's speech. Great speech. Now, is that more powerful, you think, than the blood of a martyr?
Absolutely.
Because after the martyr's done, the martyr's done.
I think
Because I feel like a lot of things change when
martyr,
somebody,
but
like,
the speech is in representation
'cause we
of
could-
the martyr. But
True.
what was said is what put this person in a martyred position.
Yeah,
You can't
true.
negate the words that
is
Martin
true.
Luther King has
Yeah.
said post his passing.
Right.
You can't say that he didn't do the speech.
Right. Because had he not done any of that speeches, and let's say, well,
What if he
speech
did?
is what
If he
made
did
them a
half the
martyr.
speech and had to go to the bathroom, right, and
Right.
he just never finished,
Yeah.
then maybe we can. His martyrdom is affected.
Right.
But he completed one of the most world-renowned speeches. Right, changed the game. But let's treat Martin Luther King's speech as a hip hop album or a hip hop moment.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
an album, but a great song,
Yeah.
a single that changed the world, moved the people.
Right.
That song is going to last an equal amount of time. You know, a great Obama speech will last as
now
long
we
as
can go
Obama
back-
lives.
Yeah, we could go back, capture that speech, put it over like images and whatever. It's still powerful. Put music behind
Put
it.
trap music on it, and
Anything
now it's
trap
better.
music.
Put some trap music
And
on
now
it.
it's
Now it's
better.
better.
Now
He
it's
goes
better.
to the beat. Stupid.
Put a drill beat on Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying? You can talk to the kids. So I think, the times will move forward, but what was written and what was presented to the people will last beyond what we have heard and seen because it will always be there. Yeah. But moving forward, we're running out of camera time.
Running out of juice.
All right. So, all right. So, Daydream, right? Daydreaming is very unique because, we have the two verses. And before, we kind of settled on the track. And I was like, okay, the first verse is something very highbrow and very, very high concept.
Yeah.
And then the second verse is very lowbrow and very low concept. And I feel like the dichotomy was deliberate. I feel like the Daydream might have been the perfect song to be on this like super high exalted nerdy shit. And then on some regular ass music video street nigga shit.
So
'Cause
two
that's what he did.
perspectives of a daydream.
Right. So we're getting the best out of both sides, though. We're getting the best out of somebody with higher ambition, and then we're getting the best out of somebody that just wants the best of his grounded perspective, right? We need more champagne, more women, right? That you want the best grounded music video to support your grounded beliefs. Whereas the mech, right? The mech that he's talking about in the first verse, that's something beyond our understanding. It's larger than us. It's taller than us. It's bigger than us. Even the concept itself, even writing about a mech is bigger than us, right? A music video is a minuscule thing. A mech can stomp your music video and destroy it.
It's interesting how like
A Megazord can turn your music video into
Yeah.
a disaster. So I think having both concepts to me is what made this track so unique. And Jill Scott just put butter all over these pancakes.
I was so frustrated with this track because as I was listening to
I hated this song.
As I was listening to it, I kept catching myself daydreaming to this freaking song, Daydreaming. I'm not lying. And I kept saying freaking shit. Let
Starting
me go
the song
back.
over? Yeah,
let
start
me
the song
go
over.
back. Let me listen again. But it was hard because this beat gives you that vibe, So it's kind of hard to not to. But as you go back and you listen to it, great storytelling. I did. Shit. I wanted to say something about this. Well, go on. You can say something.
Well, I was just going to get into the bars. As I spy behind my giant robot's eyes, I keep him happy because I might fall out of his cries, right? Fall out if he cries, sorry.
Yeah.
Fall out if he cries. To me, the mech idea is, to me, metaphorically is representative of something that he wants, but the mech can be the career, right? To pilot a mech and keep every piece of the machinery moving forward. I thought that was a metaphor for him in the rap game and being in a career like this, being exalted, being seen,
Bigger
seen,
than anybody else.
Something that people looked up to, etc. Go ahead, you run it.
The room enough for one, because I tell my homies they can't ride unless they sitting on the shoulders, but that's way too high.
Yeah.
So another
Him being famous, his homies with him.
and then with examples leading into more of the consequences of fame. Let's not try to step on the children. The news cameras filming this walk-in project building, and now there's hoes selling hoes right around the toes. So you still, even as you're famous as you are, at the very bottom, you could still deal with the, even celebrities get caught with prostitution.
Wait, okay. So this camera's filming this walk-in project building. Remember, this is based off of something that Lupe's father told him about. All the buildings in the city can form a giant mech. Yeah. So he's talking about being the buildings of the projects and forming a mech out of the projects, which is like, fucking, what are you doing,
Your
bro?
imagination runs wild. Okay, so we said very insightful things that you can only say once in a lifetime. It was missed and not recorded. We can't, get that moment back.
It can never be duplicated.
Never again.
We've uncovered a lot of we've had life-changing moments that this recording actually missed, all because of disk space, I believe.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to do some deep cleaning, I guess, on my computer as well. We apologize for that.
So what's our takeaways?
So our where we last left off was daydreaming, and towards the end we were talking about just how he was doing the highbrow and lowbrow, as Andre was explaining it on this track, and how Lupe is very good at that. I know Andre is crying.
It was also a point that
Andre was explaining so much in depth on this.
it was also a good point that Andre brought up that
We're now trying to recap what Andre had went into.
let's try to put some bubble gum into this leaky boat.
Right, let's get it.
So we had Andre bringing up a good point of the contrast of how the extent of your daydreams can be to a kid around this age. You can be as extravagant as talking about mechs being influenced by Gundam, Robotech, Astro Boy, and Voltron, or you could be on the other side of this coin and be like really glorifying the
50 Cent era
the
rappers.
idea of just jewels, Mac 10s, and
Bling bling.
and robust cleavages, robust cleavage robust cleavage next to firearms. The title of my next mixtape, robust cleavage.
Yeah, and
Coming soon.
I think I was just commenting on, I thought that, it was cool that Lupe, this, cool nerd or whatever, was making something that was put in our faces as to be the cool thing. And now like showing us like the behind the curtain, it's not really all that it's cracked up to be, you know, and showing us as youngsters, like the light.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like he was showing us.
The best point to capitalize on what your statement is that it doesn't come available to his first album, Food and Liquor. It actually, in the second album, The Cool, there's actually a song called Dumb It Down, where he was
Phenomenal song.
Good point.
he actually had to, this is probably verbatim of what they were saying in the record exec room. I don't know, maybe, but he's like, you have to dumb it down. Like you have to dumb your lyrics down. And it became a good point for.
Which is so weird.
They're trying to do right, Lou.
Why would you want him to do that if he was so
Those are trying to be
successful
queens,
doing his own
Lou.
thing? He
It's a
was
machine,
successful
man.
though, like doing it his way. Why now all of a sudden do you want him to like dumb it down? You know what I mean?
It was
no, well, I think given the context of the song is like you mechanically are improving people. We are not a business of improving people. We're here to make money. And on this first album, I feel like he has done almost everything you can on a debut.
hot off the press.
Hot off the
bro.
press. The mixtape era him, crazy. Mixtape era him was intimidating.
Yeah.
So for this to be the first album, he really took the proper steps to make this one, man. Really solid shit.
Yeah.
And we have to go down the ladder till we get to Tetsuo and Youth and even drill music and Zion, man.
Yeah.
You can't match that level of quality, man.
Even his it was him and Papoose and another gentleman in a BET cipher, and he
didn't know that one.
he went off on it too.
Punished him.
Mention really quick, Mark. You were saying the accolades that this was.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the debut album for a new artist in the commercial release, not mentioning the mixtapes, but you have the nominee for best new artist. You have the actual win for Daydream.
Yeah, the Grammy win. For
The
that.
and in combination with the Cool and Food and Liquor, he has 10 plus nominations.
That's
So
crazy.
it's just he is highly regarded and mentioned across in many levels, art, underground sensibilities, mainstream sensibilities. Like he has casted a wide net to the audiences at every level, and that's very hard to do as an artist, as a hip hop artist in general, because his lyric style isn't really tailored for a lot of people. I like him. I know a lot of people really after Food and Liquor didn't really like the Cool. I love the Cool.
Both are excellent.
I
man.
love the Cool. But it's one of those things where people have said he fell off, but it's like, no, Lupe is the cat who rested his hat on the actual little hook and just left. That was it. He didn't. It's not that. Oh yeah. Oh, we got to put you away, Lou. Nah, he left. He bounced. He's the homie.
Well,
he's the
it's
guy
like-
who bounces at the party early. Like, where'd he go?
Yeah, it's one of those things where you got to leave like while you're on top, kind of like leave on the high note,
Yeah.
And I felt like he had a lot of roadblocks put in his way, a lot of hurdles he had to jump through and do, and he did them. Like he did them to give him credit. And it's just that sometimes these labels they will try to like get you by the balls and try to make you do what they want.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know. I mean, I know it's all because of money, of course, and all that, but Like it just sucks that sometimes that gets in the way of like an artist being successful in a way. So, you know, I'm okay with him, whatever he's done so far. Like,
Yeah.
I love that. And I'll take that for what that is. And I'll appreciate that, man. Cause he's written some crazy stuff and like great songs that we can always go back and enjoy.
Yeah.
Takeaways, Andre, for this one?
This is it. I mean, this is where it began. You don't even fuck with the mixtapes. Just start here and really go on the journey through the albums, even Lasers, every one. Listen to every album, and get something. Drogas Light, Drill Music and Zion. Every album, you get to watch him evolve, right? It's like really fun to watch him evolve. And in his later years, he has only escalated everything that we're seeing. So back to this album, for this to be what it is for his first album, you know, this doesn't feel outside of our time. It doesn't feel outside of time. It really feels still supremely advanced. And I just, you know, rhyme pattern wise and even concept wise, it got my pen to jump a huge amount. A lot of the people for Lyricology 101 that I had to teach, a lot of Lyricology 101 students and the fans, a lot of them come to me as like, I want to learn Lupe, right? And I have to show them and mold them that they'll never be him, but you can be your own self, you know? It's akin to watching Jimi Hendrix play guitar and go, I want that. I want to get there. And that's what this album gets you to, you know? So superb.
Mark?
The album, this is going to be the first album that I really I was indifferent to it because I was just like, man, this is hearing Kick Push for the first time. I was like, man, this is like mainstream appeal. But then actually listen to how he raps and everything. That's where I got hooked because it was a mainstream album. But then listening to it, I was like, damn, dude, this guy is lyrical as all hell. And I enjoyed it. And it got me excited to listen to his next album after that. And after that, I was just like, what the hell? Because I can't even wait to get into the cool after this.
It's
man,
like Terminator 2.
It's like that. And like Terminator 2 and the first Terminator, you get two different identities, but you still get, you know, the first Terminator is regarded as a good slasher flick. Terminator 2 is a great sci-fi action flick. Like Food and Liquor, this is going to be the most pop he gets.
Yeah.
And then in the cool, it's like, oh, this is what he really wanted. This is what he really wanted to like give to the people, you know, like, and going back to what I was saying about Dumb It Down, it felt good for me to hear a song like that because I was just like, this guy is fighting my fight. Like I don't want to ever spit lyrics that I feel like I'm playing myself short. I don't ever want to be in a position like that. And I felt like maybe there was instances where he had his hand forced. I feel that all too well because I'd be very uneasy about that.
Yeah.
And you know, as Tribe Called Quest said so eloquently, industry rule number 4080. Record company people are shady. So kids, watch your back because I heard the smoke crack. I don't doubt it. Look at how they act.
Yeah. I definitely think that we needed Lupe at the time that he came. It's always this yin yang thing, you know, like one side of the force, you know, it rises, like the Empire Strikes Back, and then you have the rise of the Jedi again. It's like, you know, there's always this balance that we see that happens. And Lupe was that guy that came and kind of brought balance back.
Yeah, but was Lupe the master or was he the apprentice?
Was he the master or the apprentice? Man, I'm going to go ahead and say at this point, I would call him a master already at that point.
Shit.
Yeah, I would feel comfortable saying that.
That was just me playing on the rule of the Sith.
I feel like this guy is the guy that's gone through a lot of challenges. I know he was really close to his father. His father really raised him closely. And then to have that success and immediately followed with like, you know, hardship, and to come back and to put together a project again, like shows you the, just the relentlessness that he has, no matter whether
the discipline to make music,
right? No matter whether the label's against him, even, you know, at a certain point with making Lasers, like he still, you know, rose to the occasion, still put together and did what they asked of him. He still did. But at the same time, he was honest with his fans and letting his fans know, like, hey, they're holding me hostage, basically.
Yeah.
And his fan base was strong enough to go like, let's go down there to the label and protest until they release it, which was cool that his fan base was strong enough to do that. And they ended up releasing the album. So I see him as a person that's persevered through the challenges of being an artist. And he's a guy that to this day, I believe he is still putting his smarts to use and trying to educate the youngins, which he's always been trying to do. So anybody who sheds light, all throughout his career, to them, like, I always tip the hat to, because, in this world as crazy as it is, we have influencers that will influence you to do things that will lead to death, whereas somebody like Lupe comes along and he's trying to share with you the other side, which is, the light. Any cat that does that, to me, is automatically they're a special person.
Yeah.
So that's what Lupe was to me. I think this album, for its time, way ahead of its time. Like you mentioned, The Cool being another album where he was in charge of that creation. Something that, if you guys haven't heard, you guys should check out.
Yeah.
Big recommendation on that. But yeah, this definitely was a great listen this week. I'm glad that we got to touch on Lupe Fiasco.
Finally.
Certified 5-tool MC right there.
Yeah.
Finally.
So thank you guys for kicking it with us. Thank you guys for supporting. Please drop the like, drop the follow, subscribe. Find us everywhere that we're on. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, every platform that you could think of.
Threads,
YouTube,
Threads.
TikTok. We're not on Threads yet. I saw it making me a liar. Okay, so not every platform.
enough platforms.
But enough platforms where you can get audio.
Shit, Threads just popped off last week.
Like,
We're not on Threads yet.
We're on Threads already? Damn.
We're very active on Threads now.
Very active. Everything's focused on Threads now. Dropping every Monday. So till next time, we'll be... who knows what we'll drop? Peace. Hard cut.
Who knows what we'll do?
Who knows what?